I've been talking in recent videos about secondary dominants and cadences. And so what we're going to do in this video is analyze one of the most famous songs that was ever written and look for secondary dominants and cadences. So just a quick review of what these two things are. Secondary dominants are seventh chords that act like a 5/7 chord going into another key. So for example, if we're in the key of C, and then I play this seventh chord, we could call that the 1/7, but it could also be the 5/7 of F. So basically the bass is going up a fourth or down a fifth. Doesn't make any difference, but that 1/7 chord in the key of C is also the 5/7 of F. And so the 1/7 chord or the C7 chord becomes a secondary dominant. And so we're going to be looking for secondary dominants in this world famous song. Now, we're also going to be looking for cadences. You learned in my previous video that there are 4 types of cadences. The most common and really the most powerful cadence is known as the authentic cadence. So once again, if we're in the key of C and we find ourselves on a G7 chord, it resolves to C. So G7 or the 5/7 chord to the 1. That is the authentic cadence, the most powerful and common cadence. And the next one is the plagal cadence, also known as the Amen cadence. It's very often used in church at the end of a hymn. And so you might be playing a hymn and it ends like this. It ends with the authentic cadence, but then it goes Amen. It has a somewhat softer feel to it than the authentic cadence, but nevertheless it gives you that feeling of completing a musical phrase. Now, the 2 other cadences that I mentioned are the deceptive cadence, where it might, instead of going back to the 1, it goes here. It fools you a little bit. And then there's also the half cadence. That's the one that leaves you hanging. It's got to resolve. It's like playing, and then your ear is saying, please go back to the 1 chord. There you go. So, what is this famous song that we're going to analyze today? Well, it is Yesterday by the Beatles. Now, this song is largely written by Paul McCartney, credited to John Lennon and Paul McCartney. Lennon likes to tell the story, or he liked to tell the story of how he would, say, go to a restaurant and somebody was playing music and they'd see him there and they'd come up and play Yesterday. He'd have to say, no, I really didn't have much to do with the writing of this song. Anyway, I'm going to play through it. I can't play the recording because that would give me a copyright strike. So we're just going to play it on the piano and take a look at this lead sheet that I created for Yesterday. And I'm going to show you where we run into secondary dominants and cadences. So, going to the very first measure, and then it goes to, it's amazing, it starts in the key of F and immediately begins to move outside of the key. And now we're on A7. This is our first secondary dominant because see where it leads. And so the A7 chord is acting as the 5/7 chord in the key of D minor. And then it goes back, kind of works its way back to F. And here we have a plagal cadence. So in that very first line, we have a secondary dominant. And then we have plagal cadence. and then another plagal cadence. So it's interesting that in the verse, first part of the song, all the cadences are plagal, that amen cadence. And so that gives the song, in as far as its emotion, it's a softer feel to it. But now we get into the bridge, the second part of the song. There is another secondary dominant chord. In fact, the same one that we encountered in the opening part of the song. Here's the seventh chord, and it is actually the 5-7 in the key of F. So there we have our first authentic cadence. And then he repeats that same thing. Another secondary dominant. And then once again, another authentic cadence. And then we're back in the verse again. There's our secondary dominant. Notice all the secondary dominants in this song at this point are the 5-7 chord of the sixth, the minor sixth, or in the key of F would be D minor. There's our plagal cadence again. And another plagal cadence to end. Now, it's always amazing to me to think that Paul McCartney is not a classically trained musician, and he would be the first to admit that. I don't even think he knows how to read music. He probably knows how to read chord charts, though, pretty well. But nevertheless, by instinct, he was using plagal and authentic cadences and secondary dominants. And of course, this song has been covered and played by countless artists, over 2,000 different versions of it out there. But the basic chord progression that Paul McCartney wrote, you can find very easily where he's using the secondary dominants and the different types of cadences. There are a lot of other things that we can analyze with this song, what we would call the non-chord tones that he uses to make the melody especially poignant sounding and beautiful, and also the various types of modulations that occur in this song, where it briefly moves out of the key of F into the key of D minor and so on. But right now, I wanted to concentrate on cadences and secondary dominants. If you have a song that you'd like to see analyzed, looking for cadences and secondary dominants, and also maybe modulations, well, let me know in the comment section, and I would love to do that. This particular song that we're analyzing today is by special request from one of my viewers, so I thank you for that. It's always good to learn the concepts and then see how they are applied in a real life, or in this case, a real song situation. So I hope you found this helpful, and now you can begin to look for cadences and secondary dominants in all of your favorite songs. Thanks again for watching. Once again, if you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave those in the comment section. I reply to every comment and answer every question as best I can. If you'd like to support my work, you can go to my Patreon page. And if you'd like to contact me directly, you can go to my website. Thanks again for watching, and I look forward to speaking to you in the next one.